Welcome to 2A Cops, Cops Supporting Gun Rights. My name is Keith, and I want to talk to you about Home Depot employee that was murdered and how that employee was most likely prohibited from protecting himself. We're also going to talk a little bit about the need to stop victim shaming. Now, before we get into that, if you believe that you have a right to carry your concealed pistol at work to protect yourself, then go ahead and hit that like button, follow button, make a comment. It lets the algorithm know that other people should see us. And if you do that little thing, then this video gets seen by more people. And that helps us spread a good pro 2A message that people need to hear, and people hearing the cops' view of Second Amendment rights. Okay, so for people that are new to the channel, we've had a lot of new people now. I am a retired 30-year cop from Northern California. I decided to move out of California, and now I live in the United States. But I did work very close to the place that we're going to talk about here. Now, let me talk about the incident first, and then I want to talk about Home Depot's policies and a little bit about this victim shaming that's going on. Honestly, it's kind of pissing me off. All right. So 26-year-old Blake Mose was a loss prevention officer at Home Depot in Pleasanton, California, which is a suburb of Oakland. Now, this is probably one of the nicest cities in that county, Alameda County, but you do have a lot of people from Oakland coming in to rob and rip off all the nice people that live in that community. Now, from all accounts, Blake was a very nice guy who was good at his job. I have heard from a couple of cops that they knew him because they dealt with him all the time when he was arresting shoplifters, and that he was just an all-around good man, that he did not deserve this. So Blake was working at Home Depot loss prevention. He saw a female shoplifter who was stealing some items. He went to detain her, and she turned around, shot, and killed him. She fled to a nearby vehicle that was driven by her boyfriend, and their 2-year-old child was also in the vehicle. They fled back to Oakland, which they all do. It's very predictable. If you work in this area, you go to a certain intersection in Oakland and you'll find them when they come back into town. And when they came back into town, the Alameda County Sheriff's Department found them and arrested them. I'm not going to mention the murderers' names because they don't deserve anything at all from us. They're just pieces of shit. All right. So I started noticing a lot of stuff online where people were blaming the victim, and they're telling Blake, it's not worth risking your life for Home Depot. If you would just let her go and mind your own business, then you wouldn't have been killed. I didn't see one comment out of the thousands of comments across all these different social media outlets and news stories. I didn't see one thing that blamed the suspect. And to make things worse, I started thinking about it. I was going to make this video about victim blaming and knock it off, man. The guy should be able to protect himself, and we should be going after these bad people. But I started thinking about Home Depot, and what did Home Depot do to contribute to this poor guy, Blake, from getting murdered? And I know a lot of companies don't allow employees to defend themselves when they're being attacked. How do I know that? Because I would go to these calls in that same area. I would see that victims they're trying to stop somebody from shoplifting, but yet they can't even pepper spray the person. So I can't find the employee handbook online. They don't have it. And I went to a Reddit thread of Home Depot employees. And the Reddit thread was really interesting. Somebody was asking for this specific information. There was an employee who wanted to know, can I carry a concealed weapon at work to protect myself? Probably because they worked in a bad area and wanted to protect themselves. And another employee put on, now this is 7 years old, okay? But in the last 7 years, have things gotten better or worse for people being able to protect themselves in areas like California? It hasn't gone well. So if you work for Home Depot or you are Home Depot and you're trying to do some damage control, then show in there that you've changed your policy so that way we know that, but I doubt they have. This is directly from an employee handbook. They're calling it the Home Depot Employee SOP, specifically with weapons. And the PDF that they put up, it says possession of weapons and explosives, which is funny that you would put explosives in there with guns and stuff. I guess people like doing that, like doing the hyperbole thing there. But the company does not permit associates to possess or use any kind of weapon, explosive, or other dangerous implement while associates are at the workplace or otherwise performing duties on behalf of the company. It's funny, you're allowing a guy to go apprehend shoplifters in one of the most dangerous counties in America, and you won't let them protect themselves. Interesting. This policy applies whether or not a weapon is armed. I mean, a weapon is armed. Obviously, somebody that doesn't know anything about guns and weapons wrote this policy. If you're the one that wrote this policy, you're an idiot. Loaded or properly secured, and whether or not it is concealed on an associate's person or contained in an associate's personal property, such as a purse, briefcase, or vehicle. This is a poorly written policy beside that. It looks like you can't even carry your gun if you're lawfully allowed to. You can't, like where I live now. I decided to move back to the United States of America after leaving California. We have constitutional carry. You can carry a gun wherever you want. Doesn't matter. Apparently, if I work at Home Depot, I can't even bring my gun to work with me. Okay, so pepper spray, mace, and tear gas. It's funny when they just say tear gas. Like tear gas is, again, somebody wrote this, didn't know what they're talking about. So where legal, may be carried on company premises only while going to and from work at the beginning or at the end of your shift. Such products should not be carried in an associate's apron or while the associate is working. Use of such products to defend yourself against physical attack on company premises or time while going to and from work may be acceptable if otherwise deemed appropriate. Use of such products to initiate a confrontation on company premises or while performing duties on behalf of the company is prohibited even while going to and from work. Associates bear complete legal responsibility for their use of such products. Refer to Workplace Violence SOP, which I cannot find. If I have my gun with me and I see them murder this employee and I return fire and kill her, then I'm going to get fired. If I see an active shooter in the store and I just happen to have a gun with me because I work there and I shoot and stop the active shooter from actively murdering people, I'd get fired. I hope that this policy has been updated. I hope that this isn't real. Now, this came from Reddit, but it's the employee Reddit, and it makes sense. And when I looked at Home Depot, I tried to look up their gun policy, and they don't really stop people from legally carrying a gun if they're allowed to, if you're a shopper. So I hope this is all wrong. I hope that this policy, actually, I hope the policy says that you're allowed to carry a gun to protect yourself from being murdered by people from Oakland. Do you think this Home Depot policy is real? And also let me know what you think about victim shaming. Now, let me tell you that let's end this on this note. The district attorney, the person that's ultimately going to charge this person and charged with trying this person in court to put them in prison, I personally think they should be in prison for the rest of their life. I think they should be executed for doing what they did. They're a dangerous person. And I think that child should be taken away from them forever. And I think that the male half should be in prison for decades. So with that said, I'm going to leave it here. If you believe in your right to carry a weapon to protect yourself while you're at work from harm, then hit that subscribe button, follow button, leave a comment. It lets the algorithm know we're important. Let me know what you think in the comments. Comments are always spicy. You guys always have some insightful things and some crazy things in there. Just let's have it out. As I leave you, remember your ABCs. Always be caring.